Hello, my name is Wynn Johnson, and I believe that William Kuenzel, otherwise known as Billy Kuenzel, is guilty as sin of murdering Linda Alford in 1987, Monday, November the 9th, between 11:05 and 11:20 p.m. at a convenience store in Sylacauga, Alabama. This is contrary to other videos on YouTube and elsewhere presented by his defense team, and I wanted to make sure the other side is presented, because that's the key to these criminal justice cases. When you only hear one side, it's hard to tell what the truth is, or you think you know the truth when it really isn't. That's the danger of a half-truth. It's worse than a lie. You can't challenge something that's missing. You can challenge a lie, and I will do that. I will show you that there are actual falsehoods in some of the information presented. I'm particularly focusing on the video by narrated by Sam Waterston. I know he didn't write it. He's just reading the script. He's not a lawyer. He just played one on TV. And I'm not blaming him. He just was reading the script he was given. But there are a couple of serious falsehoods in that video on YouTube. I did this before, and I created a video over 2 hours long because I was reading from the record. I wanted to be as accurate as possible. I cited to the record. The record is public. You can get it yourself. However, if you don't want to go to the trouble of getting paper record and all that, then you can go to I'm going to try to upload the 2 hour and some 7-minute video also to YouTube. And you can check me on some of the things I'm going to say in this one, which I want to try to hold to about a half hour. So if I appear to be reading something, I am. That's so that I can try to keep the time down on this. There's nothing personal I have against Billy Kuenzel. I'm concerned about the system. I respect the jury system. I respect the rules and the laws that have developed over hundreds of years to try to protect the innocent and bring justice to the guilty. And so I want to make sure that people understand that. There's something called Facebook justice out there these days that I think is terrible. It's almost like a public virtual lynching that goes on in these cases that get into TV and Facebook and things like that. So I really want the public to understand you got to have both sides, and you got to trust that jury who gets to see those witnesses close up, see their facial expressions, hear the tone of their voice, their inflection, and all that. It's very important that we respect that system. By the way, full disclosure, I am the legal director of the Alabama Administrative Office of Courts, and I work with the trial court system of Alabama, and I respect it. I respect the judges in it. I respect the rules and the procedures that it goes by to try to seek justice. So you should know that. I'm not just a private citizen doing this. Nobody wants innocent people being convicted of murder and getting the death penalty. It seems like some people seem to think, I guess it would make a great Grisham novel if these things happened all the time, but life is not that dramatic. One of the things that concerned me today when I started reviewing my notes, I said, I can't remember the victim's name. And that was sad, because that's part of what this is about. Remember the victim. Sometimes we spend years and years and years trying to find out if the defendant was guilty or not. The appeals. Billy Kuenzel's case has been going on for almost 28 years now. We forget the victim. And I had to look through my notes to find her name, Linda Alford. A lady who worked at a convenience store, probably making minimum wage, had a couple of kids, and she died. She died because she was shot with a shotgun in the chest from about point blank range. 3 to 5 feet is what the medical experts said. It's too bad. And I believe they convicted the right man, and he received the death penalty, a unanimous verdict from the jury. And I want to give you some information that you have not heard in these videos out there presented by the defense counsel. By the way, the defense counsel in criminal cases get away with a lot in the public. There's no judge on YouTube to prevent them from slanting the evidence too far or leaving out something or even presenting falsehood, which I believe happened in the Waterston video. Again, I'm not blaming Waterston. He was just the narrator. A very polished and professional video, by the way. I am not polished and professional. I'm just a total amateur. So I'm learning this as I go. Here we go. I can understand defense counsel slanting things in favor of their client, trying to get public weight on their side, maybe to sway a jury, who knows. But to bring actual falsehood, I do find fault with that. And there is that I want to expose. Ignoring for a moment the slanting of facts and exaggerations in the Kuenzel videos. The first falsehood is that the jury's lack of knowledge of the alleged possession of a 12-gauge shotgun by Billy's accomplice, Harvey Venn, caused the jury to not believe Billy's father's alibi testimony. That's false. The 12-gauge shotgun issue, which is another issue that the defense raises that is highly questionable. Their claim that Billy and Harvey had the exact same type of shotgun. 20-something years later, there's still no evidence to prove that. They've brought up some things to maybe call into question whether Harvey had a 16-gauge shotgun, which was relevant in the trial. I don't have time to go into all that. But my point is, the jury didn't believe Billy's dad for very important reasons. Had nothing to do with the shotgun. That's the falsehood in the video. I'm sorry. Here's the real reason the jury couldn't believe Glenn Kuenzel, the father of Billy. His testimony was contradicted and unbelievable. The father had to be at work regularly, daily, at 6 a.m., leaving normally at 5:20 a.m. from his house. On the day of the murder, he got home, he's testified, at about 2:30 p.m. and claims he had promised Billy he'd fix Billy's commode, install a new one, but that he couldn't go until about 10:15 p.m. at night when he allegedly saw Billy sleeping on the couch near the time of the murder, because he had to take his other son, Kenneth, to the hospital, and that kept him from going till late at night. However, the father claims he took Kenneth, the other son, to the hospital in the evening, 4:30 p.m. The father claims he that he later went to Billy's with the commode and looked in Billy's window and saw him asleep on the couch at approximately 10:30, so he left without installing the new commode. The idea of installing a new commode at 10:30 p.m. at night when he had to leave for work the next day at 5:20 a.m. is strange enough, right? Just on its face. However, the prosecution later brought in a witness from the Coosa Valley Medical Center, the records custodian assistant, who testified, based on the medical record, that the father showed up with Kenneth, the other son, at the hospital emergency room at 1:08 p.m. that afternoon, the day of the murder, and that they were discharged. Kenneth was discharged at 1:55 p.m. So here's the jury hearing that the dad couldn't get to Billy's house until 10:30 p.m. at night or later because of the son being in the hospital. But they got out of the hospital at 1:55 p.m. So that gives him 8 or 9 hours to get to Billy's and install a new commode. The jury didn't believe him for that reason. Had nothing to do with the shotgun issue. Another issue. The videos that Billy's defense counsel present ignore that completely. They leave it out entirely. That's the danger of half-truth. You didn't even know that. Here's another important piece of information totally left out of the videos. Billy's conversations with co-workers right after the murder. Billy also had to be at work at 6 a.m., different place from his father. But at about 6:15 a.m., the morning after the murder, he spoke to a fellow by the name of Parsons, and Billy said I'm going to quote here, I'm going to quote from the record, from Parsons' testimony. He come in and asked me if I had heard about the shooting out at Joe Bob's, name of the convenience store. I told him no. He said that a woman got shot and the store was robbed. He said that he didn't think there was anything taken, and he didn't see how they could get caught for it because there was so many people going in and out of the store. So here's the problem with that statement that Billy made to Parsons. Remember, this is about 7 hours after the murder, early in the morning. Nobody knew at that point in time, and there had been no news reports that nothing had been taken. Apparently Billy ran out without grabbing the money that he intended to get. He threatened to rob her. The woman said, "No, you're going to have to shoot me." And he shot her, point blank, with a shotgun. So later that day or the next or so, Billy also told another co-worker named by the name of Steve Cotney, and this is beginning at page 772 of the record of the trial. Okay, we walked over there and Billy said that all of us guys around there at work was a bunch of modern-day assholes. And I says, "Modern day assholes?" And he said, "Yeah." And then he says, "Me and Harvey, we're capital assholes. Don't nobody get over on us like y'all." And he says, "We won't let nobody get over on us. You guys let people get over on you." I says, "What's the difference, Billy?" And he says, "Well, capital assholes, like I said, won't let nobody get over on you." And then he says, "Me and Harvey, we could kill somebody and get by with it." I said, "You really believe you could kill somebody and not get caught or get killed yourself?" And he says, "Well, I might get killed myself, but I know I wouldn't get caught." He said, "If you're going to kill somebody, you shoot them with a shotgun. You don't kill them with a pistol or a rifle. They will trace the bullet back to you." And then he says, "Just like the girl over in Sylacauga. They don't have a clue to who did that, and they won't." Cotney says, "I just shook it off, and walked on." And then the prosecutor says, "Is that the man right over there that told you that on that day?" Pointing to Billy Kuenzel. The answer, "Yes, sir." So this is a pretty interesting conversation that Billy Kuenzel had with his co-workers the day or a couple of days after the murder. Trying to find my place in my notes. I apologize. All right. Twice, Billy's family tried to get a witness to perjure him or herself. The first time, it was a fellow in jail named Ori Goggins, and the prosecution found out about it. They brought him in to testify. He had been offered money and paid some to say that he killed Linda Offord. And then the plan was that he would, of course, get tried after